I was looking for Bob Dylan. I was like, okay, what's her favorite Bob Dylan song? There's no.
But you found Adele.
You don't have Bob Dylan in there. You have Adele. Was that like one of your favorite cover versions?
It is. And it's funny. I did a story for The Guardian last year on that song because it had become kind of a standard. And, doing the research on that really, first off, I knew the song had an interesting backstory. So with some of these things too, I wanted to make sure, sometimes some of these songs, there's nothing interesting to say about them. And so, as I was kind of looking, I wanted to make sure some of these songs too, had something interesting to say, and so Dylan wrote that, in the 90s. And
we're talking about Make You Feel My Love.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure we get that song title out. Yeah, Make You Feel My Love by Bob Dylan, covered by Adele.
And it was like, he was recording with Daniel Lanois, and, there was like, all sorts of little things about that. And then, he's reissued it. But that song is a modern standard. And I think that's what's so interesting about that song is that is this is not the way you look tonight. This is something that dates from the 90s. And it has been covered so many times by so many different people. It's already become a standard, and so that's interesting in and of itself. And, Adele's version is just so beautiful and was really, it was so early in her career, but I think it was one of those ones that really showed people she's a really special vocal talent, and she brought something different to the song than he did. And so, it was just a really kind of interesting way of looking at things. I mean, you could do a book on Dylan love songs, and you could talk about all the nuances about what love actually means to him and whether he actually is being serious or how slippery he's being. So, and that's where it gets tricky. So you're like, is this actually a love song or not? Bob, what are you thinking of these days?
All right. So is Dylan a romantic singer? Can you listen to a Dylan song and fall in love?
It depends on the song. I think it depends on the song, and it depends on your day and how you're feeling on a given day.
The one song I was looking for, I thought, okay, maybe If Not For You would be on this one, but it's not.
What is the reaction? Yet, like yay or oh no?
Well, yeah.
I love that song so much.
Oh, do you like the George Harrison version or the Dylan version?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I like Dylan. There are reasons I like Dylan because that reminds me of my parents. That was one of their songs.
Oh, okay.
But I love the George Harrison. There's something about that song, and maybe it does have to do with my parents. But wait a second, Dave, go back. You said, is Dylan a romantic singer? Do you mean singer or do you mean lyricist?
Yeah, singer. Like if you hear Dylan sing, To Make You Feel My Love, would that? Is that like
Annie? Let's ask Annie.
Would you light some, couple candles, and as you're serving your dinner, and put on your Dylan playlist of all Dylan songs?
I like that you're passing it to me. No,
what's a no from me?
I feel like early in his career, like when he was sort of in his, the 60s albums, he was a really beautiful singer. And I think, he had, sort of a romantic view of, of the women he was writing about in some respects, but also the world. And so I think I could see that a little bit. It's hard to see now. And I don't want Dylan fans to come after me because I am a Dylan fan. But it is interesting. Like it wouldn't, he's not necessarily the person you would think about, but there is, I saw him this summer. There is some romanticism in the way he's carrying himself and the songs he's choosing to sing. It's different. It's kind of a singular brand of romanticism. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So,
well said.
But if Timothy Chalamet came to your house and started singing Dylan songs, that's a different horse of a different color.
I think Timothy's, he's like topping out at like probably the 70s, right? Are they even getting out of the 60s in that record? Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just 60s, like the early days. He's romantic.